It's quite nice that quite a few of you have come in here, and Kanchi has already given us an input on kind of things that we expect to discuss through the day. There are experts sitting in this room, people who've been in the field of finance for a long period of time, and I thought that it's not right for me to talk to all of you about finance per se. But there's a whole lot of you who are running businesses. Quite a few of you who don two, three hats. So while you may be doing things in the company, one as a finance head, the other part you also run businesses. And a significant number of CFOs today are people who are the think tank for most of the retail companies. So with that in mind, I've created a small presentation which I thought would help in structuring the way the retail industry is going, and to know if from the point of view of financing and from the point of view of prudence, are we really setting up the business to take up the task that we need to? So, sorry. So what's the first thing that's happening to us? Consumers are saying that they need to be served. We know that this has been on for a long period of time. But now they are willing to look at individuals and say, serve me. If an individual is not giving the truth or the moment of truth the way they want to, their customers are willing to blog about it, write about it, and take you through the cleaners sometimes. So they can post things about you on TripAdvisor, they could post things about you on various other social media, they could talk about mouthshut.com, I mean they could put it in any which way. So serve me is the way it is, but they are being more vociferous about what they want. They expect you to listen to them. So it's not anymore about one thing, one size fits all. They are asking you to listen to what they need and to make sure that you are able to deliver exactly based upon what they want. They also expect you to know them. It's not easy, I know, but in the current day, with the amount of technology that exists, it's easy to think about a one-on-one kind of relationship. One customer, one retailer, one place kind of a relationship is quite possible now. And those companies which don't invest in this normally land themselves into trouble because consumers are saying, we are not a class, I'm an individual. And the most important is that they are asking retailers to empower them. So not only do they want them to be, not want the retailers to tell them what they want, but they are also saying retailers that give me all the convenience that goes so with retailing so that I am completely empowered, and we'll think about it as we go by, because they are saying I want what I want at the time I want, from where I want, and at normally the prices I want, which is not always possible. So consumers are changing. Consumption patterns are also changing quite a bit, and we know that people, especially if you look at people who are earning money, very new, many a times it's not about roti kapda makan, it's about mobiles. So I'm told that the first buy for many people is now becoming mobile phones than even thinking about roti kapda makan. So things are really changing for them, and all of us are fighting for share of that spend of the consumer. But more than that, we are also fighting for share of watch of consumers, because consumers are waking up in the morning and looking at their mobile phones. They are then going on to a laptop, they are looking at things on their notepad, they are looking at television. So they are going from screen to screen, and therefore the way they are consuming is completely changing. Because for them, you can interact with them if you are able to be on the screens that they are looking at you for. Borders are breaking, and we know that whether or not FDI happens in this country, I think retail people have already started buying from retailers globally. How many of you sitting in this room have bought from a website and got your items ordered from elsewhere, not within India but from outside of India? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 10 people are bold enough to say. Some of them are feeling shy to lift their hands. But the fact of the case is most of us have bought something or the other from the global retailers, and so borders are breaking. I had the good chance of talking to somebody from Australian Retailers Association recently, and they were saying they have got a typical problem now. The problem is that the country's got about $260 billion worth of retail business, which is lesser than what we have. We seem to be having about $500 billion of business. But of this $260 billion, 12% is online sales, which is fine. I mean, we're thinking 12% is not so bad. But they said of this 12%, 50% is sales that's happening from retailers from outside of Australia. So for the association, they are saying that for long we used to think that we are down under, nobody comes and troubles us, we are Australia after all. And suddenly, 6% of the total sales of Australia is happening from websites and from retailers outside of Australia. So 6% is the amount of people who are buying from outside. This is a problem for many, and it's in different parts of the world in different forms. But there is also something that I think people here in finance have to think. The corollary to this is we in India can now think about selling our products, not necessarily in India, but globally. So if we are really good at what we do, if we know that we can give them a price advantage, we know that we can give global consumers what we want, then there is a good possibility of us doing exports without necessarily bringing a huge infrastructure around it. We at RAI are trying to see if even these exports are getting recognized and we can get some kind of an export incentive or whatever it is that goes with it. In fact, we've been talking to various departments. The finance committee of RAI has helped us in doing this so far. But I think there is a big finance and advocacy committee. And I think there is a big chance for us to become exporters without necessarily going through a big amount of mess, only because we do what we do very well. So if they are buying 6%, can we make sure that significant part is from India? If the whole of Europe is got, let's say, even 4%, can we be from India big exporters to these customers? That's the question. Size is no guarantee for success. All of us know that. Sometimes very small retailers become very large suddenly. And we know that in IT industry, this is happening like this. Most of you have been reading the valuation that WhatsApp has got, already are thinking and dreaming about it. But I think the chances of becoming very large, if our thought process is right, is currently available to most of us. The last part is about the industry needing to collaborate. If we don't collaborate, we don't get things done. I think one of the reasons why RAI is because the industry came together to come in onto one platform and collaborate to get a few things done. Quite a significant number of advocacy activities happen because of this collaboration. But more than that, I can see collaborations now happening on cost, collaborations happening on trying to increase sales in whichever manner. Maybe it's through channels, maybe it's collaboration through trying to create distribution center networks, whichever way it works. I think we have to think beyond our companies to come out with answers that can help not only us, but a set of people who come in together without necessarily making it sound like a cartel. I don't think we are talking about cartelization here. We are talking about collaboration here. So I'm almost coming to think that every time we come in, we should be giving out one thought that some of us can take back. So the next slide is going to get some of you thinking, hopefully, and one of you or quite a few of you would be able to break this. So if you really look at today, a 13 or a 14-year-old buying inside a store, let's say it's a girl buying in a store, it's normal that along with that girl, the mother also goes in. But there is also a possibility that the father is also there in the store. Is that right? Yes or no? So if that is the way it is, there are different roles that each one of them is playing. The girl is going to be the user. The mother is influencing it because she is possibly standing there and telling the girl what looks good, what does not look good, what she can get away with wearing, what she will never allow her to wear, kind of stuff. And then there's a father who is standing there thinking, okay, I'm going to finish this and then I'm going to be the person who will go and pay up. Sometimes it's a very typical role that I'm thinking about. But increasingly, many of us have to realize that not always a person who is shopping is the person who is going to pay. And many a times the person who is going to pay is being dragged to the whole shopping experience because he is supposed to pay or she is supposed to pay. So the thought is, can we think about this process differently? For long, I think retailers have been thinking that it's one person and we have to take care of one consumer. But there are roles that's getting formed. If you look at buying, let's say, how many of you bought on the IRCTC sites?